side. Boston going to work. Scores off the backboard. 4 seconds to go. Boston to Hull. Left wing. Fires a three. Good! Hull heads with .3 to go in the third. Woo!
All right, well, this is the W Hoops podcast college basketball version. The first week of women's college basketball regular season has ended, and we are very excited about that. As much as we enjoy the WNBA, we love women's college hoops even more than the pro level. So our teams are starting off the season pretty well so far. The UConn Lady Huskies ranked #1, and IU women unranked, but had a couple of games this week. So, yeah, Danielle, I am coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. This is going to be the second time we're trying an international version of the podcast, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun to get back into college basketball, and I expected UConn to look good, but I'm kind of pleasantly surprised by how good IU has looked and just seeing all the new players who I didn't really know a lot about.
Yeah. Well, I got to see the UConn game, the first 3 quarters of the UConn game, and then most of the first IU game. So we can talk about those. And then IU played, was it Friday? Um,
Hmm.
had another game, and I just saw the highlights of that. So I won't have a lot to comment on there. But yeah, so let's start maybe with UConn, because I think that was the first game of the week for our teams. And yeah, that the first quarter, they looked absolutely dominant. I mean, I thought the game was just going to be a 40-point blowout.
Right. Yeah, no, they looked really good. AZ came out super aggressive. KK has impressed me. She's shooting threes, and a couple of the times she had her toe on the line and it was a two. But
Right.
if KK is gonna space the floor, forget about it. Who's gonna beat UConn?
Yeah, nobody. I mean, if KK is going to be that effective as a shooter, I mean, then you have to come out and guard. She's so quick. I mean, you've got like 5 scorers. I mean, I don't even think
Yeah.
Sarah Williams did that much in that game
No.
offensively. I think she's, you know, gives them size and length defensively, but they didn't even need her even
Yeah,
against a
well,
top 20 team.
yeah, she only played 21 minutes. You know, Gino loves a four-guard lineup, so Kaylee Heckle played 23 minutes.
Yeah. I thought Heckle looked good though. I thought she
Oh
was,
yeah.
I really liked her last year. I remember when UConn played USC, and I thought she was just a pesky little defender against the UConn guards, and kind of like KK-ish,
Hmm.
way of defending. And so to have
Yeah, and she got
KK
to the
and
bucket,
Heckle,
got some layups, and ended up with 14 points actually.
yeah, she just has a nose for the ball too, it seems like.
Mhm.
Yeah, I liked her last year when I saw her with USC, and yeah, I thought she had a really solid first game as a Husky, and I still think Sarah's the best player in the country, Sarah Strong, and she's just can do everything on the court.
Yeah, she's so good. She was relatively inefficient, 9 for 17, 53%, and didn't make a three. The whole team shot terribly from three. But yeah, she can just do everything. She's so good. She's so smooth, her hands. And then when Louisville was threatening in the fourth quarter to cut it to single digits, they got her the ball and she made a bucket and kind of, I think it was an and one, and kind of put the game out of reach.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, she's just great. And I mean, they have so much talent and so much depth this year. I mean, I don't know if they will go undefeated, but I wouldn't be shocked if they go undefeated this year. I mean, they're just that good and, you know, better, potentially better than last year's team, even with Paige, just because of the
Mhm.
depth. But,
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to say a team without Paige is better than a team with Paige.
Right.
So I don't
Yeah,
know. I
but
mean,
when you do, I mean, last year had three of the best players on the floor in almost every game. And so you still have two of the best players on the floor in almost every game.
and I think it took the team a little while to mesh last year.
Hmm.
But once they had that loss at Tennessee,
Yeah.
Gino made a comment, I think, after the national championship game when Holly Rowe was talking with him and just saying that, that was kind of the turning point for their season. And they just started playing great basketball. So
Yeah.
that team at its peak, maybe better than this year's team. I don't think, you know, the number two team in the country last year technically was South Carolina, and UConn beat them by 25 points or more twice, basically, you know.
Yeah.
And so at its peak, that, you know, that was an all-time team, but they
Hmm.
struggled to mesh early in the season. Um,
Sure.
so, but yeah, this
Yeah,
year's
it's
team seems to be meshing quite well.
yeah. And it'll be interesting. They mentioned in the broadcast for this week's game that last year they didn't have as much depth, but the players coming off the bench were 30 game starters the year before just because of all the injuries with KK and Ashlyn moving to the bench after having to start with all the injuries the previous year. So they don't have players coming off who have played or started massive minutes with UConn before. But you have Kaylee Heckle, you have Sarah Williams, who was, the star at Wisconsin. And then you have players like Ice and Jana who have been there for a long time and are good role players. Zybel, we'll see. I'm interested to see if she can contribute this year and give them some floor spacing. And then Blanca didn't play at all against Louisville, so I'm interested to see if she's in the doghouse or how Gino will handle her minutes this year because he gave her a long leash in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even realize that. I hadn't looked at I mean, I did look at the box score, but it didn't even cross my mind. I was that Blanca didn't play at all. That's odd. I think
No.
she's kind of an X factor for the
Hmm.
team this year. Like she could be somebody who elevates them to an all-time great team potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. He played Zybel 5 minutes. Ice and Jana played 9 and 8 minutes, and Heckle played 23. And other than that, he just, how Gino is with his lineups. And AZ
Well,
and Sarah had to play 38 minutes each.
did they have to play 38
No.
minutes? I mean, we did the segment during the WNBA season. What were they thinking? And I think it's an appropriate time to bring that segment back right now. And what was Gino thinking? The first game of
What
the
is,
season, leading by 15 to 20 points most of the game, and you play AZ and Sarah 38 minutes each. What?
right.
What was he thinking?
Yeah, especially because Louisville didn't have any huge post players. So you could have gone, you're doing four guards anyway. You can go with Sarah Williams as the one big out there, or bring Ice or Jana into play with Sarah Williams for a while and give Sarah Strong some rest. And with like Ashlyn and Zybel are great minutes for AZ to get some rest. You still have a 3-point threat out there.
Yeah, I mean, you got Blanca could have played. You've
Yeah.
got Patterson could have played against Louisville. I
Yeah.
mean, I just, I don't know. I mean, Gino's, the greatest coach in women's college basketball, arguably ever, but I just don't understand his thinking sometimes with decisions like this. It just
Yeah.
boggles my mind that in the first game of the season he does that when there's no reason. That game was well in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
For AZ, we saw her come out of the gate aggressively in the first quarter, score a lot, but then in the second quarter, she didn't really shoot. And
yeah,
then by the time she started shooting again, she was cold.
just
So I
yeah, she
kind of
was
feel like
off.
they need to be intentional about just like there's no reason AZ should ever not be shooting. She should shoot 5 times a quarter if possible.
She did end up
And
with
like she
20
played,
field goal attempts.
what's that?
She ended up with 20 field goal
Did
attempts. So
she?
yeah, so
Okay,
she
but yeah, I
averaged
don't think
that.
she shot in the second quarter. She passed, she had some good passes, but she hardly shot. And then by the time the second quarter or the second half came, she was pretty cold from three.
I think KK was taking her shots.
Yeah, that's true.
KK took three threes and those two long twos. I mean, that's
Yeah,
like five shots that you wouldn't have expected from KK last year to be taking five 20
yeah.
footers, so which is okay, but she did have 20
Especially,
shots. So I was
yeah.
she ended up 9 for 20 from the field.
Okay. And really, if KK starts hitting a few of those, that's going to give AZ a little more space, right? If the defenders have to respect KK, and KK is going to pass it to AZ if AZ is more open than her.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how that develops. If you can have 3 or 4 shooters on the floor with AZ,
Oh
she
yeah.
makes an open shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you play, I'm assuming it's going to look something like four out and Sarah Williams in,
Hmm.
because Sarah Strong can handle the ball, she can pass, and of course, there's a lot of motion principles in UConn's offense. There's going to be a lot of cutting to the basket, and AZ's a great back cutter, and
Hmm.
I think Sarah's got the best court vision on the team, probably,
Yeah.
and she's tall, she can pass over. anybody. But yeah, I mean, they're just they're good. They looked
Yeah,
great. That first
Sarah,
quarter showed, I think, there's potential, and
for sure. And that's even without Blanca playing at all that game. Um, yeah, as Chelly is still out with whatever kind of nagging thing she has. But yeah, Sarah Strong had 5 assists to lead the team of their 17. 2 steals, 2 blocks, 1 turnover. So yeah,
yeah,
she's very, very good.
yeah, best player in the country, I think, with Juju out. I think she's
Yeah.
the best player. So better than Betts. But all right. So what's upcoming for UConn? What's on their schedule? Do you have?
Yeah. Let's see. They play Florida State, who's not ranked, but they're usually a good team. So they have that. Then Chicago. Then they have on Sunday, November 16th, Ohio State, who's also not ranked, but Ohio State's always tough. They're going to press full court. They're going to be physical. So that's a tough one. And then they play Michigan, who is ranked 13 right now. And then they play Utah, who isn't ranked, but also always kind of a top program. And then they get into conference play, it looks like.
Okay, yeah. Well, they have a very tough non-conference schedule.
Yeah,
They probably
then
have
they
some
still
games
into,
during the conference part of the
yeah,
schedule. They have some
they
non-conference
have
games as well.
USC, they have Iowa, they have Notre Dame, they have Tennessee. So yeah, they don't have South Carolina this year for the first time in a long time, but they have the next 2 years scheduled with them.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, then on to IU. Did you got a chance to see the game against Lipscomb then? Or were you?
Yes.
So I watched that game and Zanaya Saka Newman. I don't know how you pronounce. They think they call her Big Z. Maybe we need to just
Hmm.
call her that as well. Very effective. Lipscomb was really small, and Big Z
Yeah.
isn't huge. She's 6'3", maybe listed at 6'3", I want to say, but she can jump. And she was effective with her left hand, ended up 9 for 10. And then Shay is also super aggressive this year. Really looking for her shot as well. She was aggressive last year as well, but even I think it's those two are going to be really leading the charge on the offensive end of the court, it looks like.
Yeah, I think so. I'll be interested to see. I feel like they need a third person to step up. It looks like those two will be kind of 20-point scorers every game. I feel like you need a third scorer who's going to give you 15 if possible. But I haven't, we'll see who that could be. Beaumont has looked good. I've been impressed. She was injured last year, obviously, so we didn't get to see her, and she was pretty limited the year before. She's listed at 6'1", which I don't know if I believe fully, but she actually is pretty big. And
Yeah.
she's shooting well, and um, so maybe it can be her. But yeah, I've liked what I've seen so far from all the newcomers. I feel like they have about probably 8 solid players, which is great. Kathy looks good. Kodlechikova,
Is that
Beaumont.
really how you say it? I mean, come on, that
That's
looks
yeah,
like Kodlakova.
that's how it's listed. They had an article about it for IU, so
Yeah, I mean, I know that was
Kodlechikova.
the Indiana Daily Student. It's a student newspaper, so I don't
Yeah.
100% trust that that's how it's pronounced, but it
Well, the Big Ten Plus guys are just saying it a different way every time, and
right.
they
Right.
don't
Yeah.
know.
That's why we don't pay for Big Ten Plus because that's the
Right.
quality you get. I mean, look, there's not a cut at the end of the Kova. There's not
Yeah, but that just
Kodlo.
could be, yeah, I don't know. Kodlechikova is how they said it in that
Yeah.
article.
So anyway, seems like there's an extra consonant the way they're saying it in the article. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Kathy, I've been very impressed with watching the preseason games and
Mm-hmm.
watching this game. Very impressed by her. She's going to get after things defensively and
Yeah.
good ball handler. Got some shooters. I've liked Kodlakova. I thought she should have gotten more playing time last year. I'm going to call her Kodlakova. But I thought she should have been playing more. I think she's got just as a lot of international experience. You can tell
Yeah.
she's keeps her head about her. She's a smart court game and decent shooter. There's potential to be a good shooter there. But yeah, I think the third scorer, probably needs to be Beaumont. Kodlikova doesn't seem to look for her shot as much as Beaumont
No.
does. That Phoenix Dojin, I'm not sure. She was quite
Stotine is how the Big
Time.
Ten guys
Okay,
are
yeah,
saying
maybe
it.
that's right. She looks like she's in the preseason game. She's looks pretty good. She's also
Yeah.
so aggressive. She's looking for her
Hmm.
shot, it seems like. But I think I'd really like to see Maya
Hmm.
Makaluski get more playing time and develop. They need her size.
Yeah.
We're just really, really, really small when
Hmm.
we're playing Kodlikova at the four, and
Yeah.
Shay's very small, and
Hmm.
Caffey's not big, and
Right.
so I mean we're just really small,
Hmm.
and so I'd
I
like to
like
see,
speaking of small guards, I like Kyaku when she's been out there. She's gotten just a couple minutes, but she's like a quick little pesky guard too. So they have some fun players, I feel like. But yeah, definitely undersized. So it'll be interesting to see like once they get into Big Ten play how they fare.
yeah, yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think the height's going to be the big issue for them, but I think it'll be a fun season. It looks like they play hard. They're going to play like a team, although that first game they only had 11 assists on 33
Yeah.
made field goals, which is a little low for Terry
But
Moore and
it's
coach
a
team.
lot of new players meshing. I think that'll go
Yeah,
up as the year goes on.
yeah. So then against UIC, I only
Hmm.
saw the highlights of this game on YouTube,
Hmm.
like the 5-minute highlights, and it looked like IU really struggled in the first half. They were
Hmm.
down uh,
Yeah.
at halftime, and but Shay Ciezki went off. She had
Yeah.
35 points on 12 of 21 and 7 of 10 from three.
Yeah, that's awesome that she's capable of doing that. Even I know that's not a great team, but yeah, for her to be able to score 30 plus is great. And obviously 7 for 10 is amazing. And she's just so aggressive hunting her shot. She puts pressure on people in transition. Yeah, that's great. And then Big Z had 19 points and 13 rebounds. And no one else had more than 5 points.
Yeah, to your point you made earlier, that's going to be they've got to find a third scorer. That's what
Hmm.
I've always said. If you and I've said this before on the podcast, I think, but when I coached basketball, if another team just had two scorers, I felt like I could game plan and to shut them down pretty easily. But once you get a third scorer added into the mix, it becomes really hard to defend a team like that. And
Right.
somebody's got to step up out of these other players, because if it's they only scored 72 points, and Big Z and Shea both had great games. And,
Yeah.
that's not going to be enough most nights.
No, yeah. The rest of the team had 18 points and 54 for Big Z and Shay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's not great, but Big Z looks like she could potentially lead the country in field goal percentage. She's off to a great start.
Yeah,
And
she has a nice little hook shot
she
too.
does. Yeah. She can jump. I mean, it'll be, once she gets up against bigger players, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But so far, great start for her. She may win every jump ball too. She gets off the
Hmm.
floor. She has
Yeah.
hops. I think in
I
one
think
of they said in the preseason game maybe that she can dunk.
I think so.
So that'll be
We'll see if we
interesting.
get that.
Yeah, so she's not tall, but I think she's long and very athletic. So
Yeah. And they only had 8 turnovers to 15 assists in the second game. So they're small, but if they're taking care of the ball, um, not making too many mistakes, that'll probably help them kind of make up for some of the lost rebounds or whatever their size hurts them.
yeah, but I mean it's just going to be hard. I mean, Caffey played 34 minutes and had 5 points, and Lene Beaumont had 30 played 33 minutes, had 4 points.
Yeah.
Those
And
two have to
the
step
other,
it up a little bit.
yeah, the other issue is going to be when you're guarding Lauren Betts, if Big Z gets in foul trouble, who's going to guard her? Is it going to
Yeah.
be
Edison
Faith
Nguyen.
Wiseman.
No, it's not going to. Edison Nguyen seems to be the backup big coming
Yeah,
in. Faith didn't get any minutes against UIC. She got a
yeah,
handful of minutes against Lipscomb, but she just still doesn't look great out there. I mean, they need her though. I mean, I'd kind of like to see Terry just give her minutes in every game because I
yeah,
think they need her size. And
yeah.
you can't teach size, as the old saying goes in basketball. And she's one of the only players with real size on the team. And I think you just have to
Mhm.
play her in these early season games and hope
Yeah,
she can develop. I don't care what you're seeing in practice, you've got to give her minutes.
yeah, for
So,
sure.
so yeah, but Nguyen looks good in her
I think
minutes.
so.
I think she's a solid backup.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
Maya, Nguyen, and Phoenix Stotine off the bench. I feel like they do have a solid 8 players, and if
yeah.
they can just and maybe even Chloe Spreen. I'm not sure if she'll get some more minutes, but she played a little bit. So they have some players. We'll see what the rotation ends up being, but yeah.
Right now, it seems like those three are like in the UIC game, Chloe Spring got 1 minute and
Mm-hmm.
Kyaku got 1 minute. And so she did have her 8 player rotation was
Yeah.
those eight. I think by the end of the season, you know, I think just for the sake of size, I'd like to see Makaluski starting. And
Mm-hmm.
I would hate to see Kodlakova come out, but it makes more sense rotation wise
Yeah.
to have Kodlakova coming in off the bench, probably. So, but yeah, I mean, again, fun team. I mean, Shay, you got two really strong players. They just need a third
Mm-hmm.
scorer to step up.
Yeah.
So, what's IU's upcoming schedule look like?
Let's see. Um, they have Marshall. I don't know who that is. So kind of probably another easy game, hopefully. And then they have Florida State, then Butler, Florida Gulf Coast, who's usually a tournament team, Gonzaga, Western Michigan, Illinois. So then they get into conference play, I guess. But no huge non-conference names. But Florida State and Florida Gulf Coast are pretty solid teams usually. So those aren't
Butler's
bad.
usually
So it'll be interesting.
Butler's usually decent. I mean, they're not great, not like but they're a solid team. They're not
Yeah, it's not a directional whatever school.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not Lipscomb. I mean, Butler is a decent
Sure.
Big East team. So a good mid-major. They're solid, but yeah, they're not Notre Dame or Duke or
No.
South Carolina by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, Butler beat us last year, right? Wasn't that just last year?
Maybe. I think so. I think
Butler and
so. That was
Harvard beat
rough.
us last year,
Oof.
I think.
Brutal.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Well, it just one I haven't paid attention, but I don't know, kind of a painful question, but did Yarden make her debut with Maryland yet? I don't know if you noticed or
Yeah,
not. I
I think
didn't.
so. I think she didn't, I want to say she didn't shoot super well, but I think it looks like she played a lot of minutes and did well. That'll be weird to see her this year, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, she's going to start. She's going to play heavy minutes and she's probably going to be one of their top scorers, it looks like.
Okay.
But yeah, the other big game this week, just in terms of like ranked matchups, was Tennessee versus NC State. And NC State ended up winning that. And they're ranked, I think, number 9 right now. And I want to say Tennessee is higher than that. What was Tennessee ranked at the start of the season?
I think Tennessee was 8 and North
Yeah,
Carolina
Tennessee
State
was
was
8.
9.
It was an 8-9 matchup,
Yeah. So that's
and NC State won. Um, So that's kind of one to watch. And then there's a couple. NC State plays USC coming up tomorrow. So that'll be interesting just to see how USC looks without Juju. And they lost quite a few players, I feel like. They
yeah,
lost
they
Heckle, they lost a couple others. Then UCLA plays Oklahoma, who's ranked 6th to start the season, and then they play UNC, who's ranked 11. So that'll be interesting to see UCLA. They have two Bettses now,
Right, right.
but they lost a couple players as well, including Big Z. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I don't know, I'm in Australia this week and next week, so not sure how much college basketball I'll be able to watch, but glad the season's here and getting started. But there is some WNBA news that I wanted us to just chat a bit. I only heard briefly about it, but pretty controversial that NECA, who's the head of the Players Association, has signed with this Saudi league.
yeah, it's interesting. We've kind of like heard rumors that it's like starting and they're going to be targeting high profile WNBA players and paying them millions of dollars. I think like $2 million maybe at least. And I don't think it's a super long season. Um, but yeah, it is definitely a little questionable. She's the president of the Players Association, and it's Saudi at a Saudi-backed league. And so there's always some questions with Saudi money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see who else potentially signs. Angel Reese is not doing Unrivaled this year, so I don't know if she'll be another one. But yeah,
Paige
it's
is doing
interesting.
Unrivaled, right? I think
Yeah,
I saw a headline. I didn't get to read the whole article, but I think I saw where
it
Paige is
is.
playing Unrivaled. But the
Yeah,
Saudi League is in the WNBA off season, right? I mean,
it
it's
is.
so it's more
It can.
competing with Unrivaled technically
That's
than with
right.
the WNBA.
That's right. And I saw some quote from Nafisa's husband that was like, like something about how they're committed to their mission and keeping players home and paying them well, basically. So their pitch is kind of you get to stay home in America and
Yeah,
you don't have to travel internationally.
yeah, yeah. Which is great. I think it's great that they're doing that. Yeah, there was um, speaking of the Saudi money, there was a big controversy in professional golf when there was a league or like a tour started by the Saudis that in direct competition with the PGA, which is the big, tour in the United States. And it was quite controversial also about the Saudi money and players competing with the PGA. So yeah, like you said, there's always some controversy with that piece of it. But now you've got the players union kind of the president is going with the Saudi league, and then you got the vice president connected with Unrivaled. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but there was an extension. I think since
Hmm.
our last podcast, right, there was an extension on
Yeah.
the bargaining time with the WNBA and the Players Association, but
Yeah, through the end of November, but it doesn't sound great.
no, it doesn't sound great.
And if NECA is signing with the Saudi league, it kind of makes me think that they're, trying to show the WNBA like, hey, we're not messing around. We're going to go make money somewhere else if you're not going to give us the revenue share that we're asking for.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that with the little bit of to little to no progress that they've made in months and months that
Yeah.
now in what 3 weeks they're gonna all of a sudden be happy and agreeable and sign a contract that everybody's happy with. And I still think there's so much controversy going on with the NBA right now,
Hmm.
and I thought the only hope, and maybe we talked about this a little bit a couple months ago, or maybe right after the fee came out with her statement. The only hope would be if Adam Silver would come in and kind of take over negotiations because the players trust him. But now with
Hmm.
everything going on with the NBA, the big gambling controversy, I mean, that's a mess. So yeah, I don't see how it's realistic that anything's going to get done. You got the holidays coming up in a couple weeks, and
Right.
yeah, I mean, it
Yeah,
just
it's
doesn't
tough.
look good.
The draft is coming up though, which is interesting that they're kind of moving forward with because it feels like they've just been like not saying anything about how the draft or the expansion draft is going to work, but
Right.
the regular draft is happening November 23rd, so in a couple weeks here. And Dallas has a 42% chance of the top pick, and then Chicago or not Chicago, Minnesota has Chicago's pick because Chicago is very poorly run. and I guess they thought that they were going to be competitive this year. Um, so Minnesota has a 26% chance at the number one pick. And then Seattle owns LA's pick, which Seattle did really well. They are very messy, but they did quite well from that Jewel trade, getting Malanga and LA's pick.
Yeah.
So they have a 16.7% chance
Mhm.
of the top seed or the top pick. And then Washington has under 10%.
Yeah. So
And then
it's just
Chicago
a,
has a 5.
I say it's just a draft lottery, right? It's not the actual draft.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll know
Yeah, because
who.
not everyone. Yes, sorry, it's the draft lottery to determine the order of the picks, and
Yeah.
then the actual draft itself won't take place until
After the college
basically
basketball
after the
season.
college season is done and once
Yeah.
everyone has declared. And it's a super fast turnaround. They give them like 24 hours after they're done with their season to declare.
Yeah. I mean, those are some things they need to change for this to work well with. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
women's basketball is a little bit of a state of disarray right now.
yeah,
And they need to make some changes, I think. And I don't know what that looks like. The college basketball season is the ending of the college basketball season is too close to the beginning of the WNBA season,
yeah.
and it's
Oh,
just crazy.
one good thing though is that they've introduced the coaches challenge to the college game.
Yes.
And for the women, I like in theory, we'll see how it plays out, but I like it better than how it's set up in the W and the way it works. I think they have more limitations on what they can challenge. I don't think they can challenge if something is a foul or not, which I think is not great.
Mm.
But they can challenge like out of bounds. They can challenge who the foul's on. They can challenge a couple other things. But they get basically unlimited challenges, but if you're every time you're wrong, you get charged a timeout.
Ah, okay.
And if you are out of timeouts, then you get it's a technical.
Okay.
So I think
Interesting.
that's interesting. And that's, I mean, obviously the refs all across the board need to be improved, but I do think challenges are a way to kind of combat some bad reffing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's good. It does sound like a better setup. I hate the
Mhm.
WNBA system where they only get two challenges no matter what. And
And you get charged the timeout on the second one, even if you're right.
yeah, I mean that's just silliness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, yeah, so we're off and running with college hoops and we'll keep, talking as things develop about the WNBA as well. But
hmm
yeah, I'm really glad to be able to focus more on college basketball for the next
Yeah.
few months. All right. Well, I think that's it for the W Hoops podcast today. Everyone, please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment or a review, and we'll see you next week.